One of my favorite builders is David Weekley Homes, and they've got a new neighborhood called Encore at Streamside in the Waxhaw area, 55 plus, and there's a lot of buzz about this neighborhood. In their newsletter today, we have a good relationship with them, the salespeople, the online, and there was a great article that we kind of rewrote that'll be in the description of this video below. It's actually a list for those of you that might find terminology that home builders use interesting. I do, of course, and I learned something new. I just want to hit a few of them. Stay to the end of the video because I've got some exciting news about this Encore at Streamside that I think you'll want to hear. All right, so what is a top plate? Do you know what a top plate is? A lot of times we say, well, this house has a 10-foot ceiling, but I like to say this house has a 10-foot top plate. So you've got a vertical stud, and then going across the top is a 2x4 also that ties them all together. That's the top plate. Well, what about at the bottom? Some people call that the sill plate. I like calling it the bottom plate. So you got a top plate, you got studs, you got a sill plate or a bottom plate. Now, what's interesting is at the bottom plate, have you ever noticed a big bolt, a nut that forms a bolt coming out of the concrete slab? Say around the garage, you'll notice it if it's not finished. So that anchor bolt is in this list. That is the bolt that they put way down into the concrete, stick it up through the bottom plate, and then they washer, and then they put the nut on top to secure it. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, that's to help your house from flying away in case of a hurricane. Not really, but it's definitely an engineering delight to be able to add that every so many inches. Here's one that you may or may not know. I'm gonna save the best one for last, and then we'll get to the David Weekley news. Did you ever know when you have a door, you've got the handle and you got that little that goes in and out? What is that called that's on the other side of your door jamb there? That's called a keeper. Kind of like my wife, a keeper. So that's a neat terminology. I didn't know that that's what it was called. Here's one that I've always kind of wrestled with a little bit, but on the house, I used to have a gutter business. You have the fascia board that goes, like this, and then your gutters, of course, mount onto the fascia board, and then your roof, comes down like, roof comes down like that, and then you got the, I'm looking backwards, you got the fascia board, and then you got your gutters on top of that. Well, that's fascia, but what is rake? What is rake board? And I don't even going to ask you what freeze board is, but rake board. So your house, looking at the side of your house, is going up like this, up to the ridge of the roof, yeah? And so that wood trim that's almost like fascia, that's coming down underneath, the roof itself, that overhang, that is rake. I like that. That's rake. Now, here's the one I like real well. It's actually two. One of them's named after my dog that died, which is Jack, obviously. But do you know what a king stud is and a jack stud? So now I'm thinking about cards. My wife's playing cards in our 55 plus neighborhood right now with neighbors. But do you know what a king stud is? So let's just say you've got stud, stud, stud. Now you've got a door. And for that door opening, let's say the ceiling's 10 foot, but the door is 8 foot. So now you've got to put a header to carry the weight. And then how does that weight that's coming down from above, that normally goes all the way down to the bottom plate and the foundation, how is that weight accounted for? Well, you have a header board with a small little, I think they call that a cripple stud. But then you've got right next to that, you've got a king stud that goes all the way up. But then when you've got that header, then underneath that, you've got a jack stud. And by the way, my dog Jack was a stud, although we had him fixed and ruined his sex life. But anyway, that's another story. But that jack stud, when I on site, somebody taught me that, I thought, man, that's cool. That's cool to know. That's the king stud, and then that's the jack stud that comes from the header board down, because the weight's got to be carried down to the floor. Well, thanks, David Weekley. Look in the description below and see all these terms that we rewrote from their article. Well, what's the news? Over at Encore at Streamside, they've got 3 specs, one price at $512, one at $511, one just under $500. So $500 to $512-ish, and those will be available soon. However, there are 2 others that are available now, And all you have to do is ask if you want me to go shoot a video of these houses. Maybe you're ready to move. And well, they're ready to sell these. This one's done. It's an Allure plan. It's priced at right under 500, 499, 899. And wow, this is 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath. I hear a lot of people call me and say, hey, we're downsizing, which is harder than it sounds, like most things. But really, in a 55 plus, and my wife and I are experiencing this, and our clubhouse isn't even open yet. It will be very soon. But you're not living, again, where's my wife right now? She's down the street playing cards. And yesterday she was out playing pickleball. And tomorrow, pickleball again. So your house is a place, to gather, but do you really need, 4 bedrooms and 3 full baths? Maybe not. If you got 2 bedrooms and a flex room. So this one's priced just under 5, good looking house with a nice dormer up on top. And then here's one that is also an Allure plan, but a different elevation. Again, the elevation is that part on the front. You can have the same floor plan with a different elevation. This one's priced at 528, just under 529. And we said, well, why is that more? I don't know. Let's go find out. If you're out of town, ask me to go shoot one or both. Now, the HOA over there is about 284 monthly. A lot of times it's about you take a larger neighborhood like Crestwood Wesley Chapel, coming into this year, it's going to be 250. And that includes a lot of really nice extras. 250, with Carolina Orchards, it might have gone up. You're up closer to 400 at Trilogy. They got a lot more stuff, though. It's a resort. But 250 is about the right number. So you take a smaller neighborhood, whereas Crestwood Wesley Chapel from Coulter is going to be about 600. You've got the cost spread out over more people. This one is going to be more like a little over 300 homes. And that's a great size, by the way. The big one, the El Capitan, that everybody says is way too large, has got about 3,200. And we can help you buy in there. It's a great neighborhood. Sun City, Carolina Lakes from Del Webb. That's big, but 300 is a great size. But with fewer people, the price looks like it's going to be 284. It is now. And by the way, they're working on their amenity center as well at Encore at Streamside. That's a great builder, by the way. I think you're going to like them. And let us help you. I'm thinking about a couple from Minnesota that came down. They thought they were going to come in here, Crestwood Wesley Chapel. And they came in and looked at, and my buyer's agent, that was Rodney Jones, showed them the whole market, showed them everything, spent days helping them find for the right house. And they thought they were going to buy in here initially. They ended up at Encore at Streamside. And that's great, because that's going to be a great neighborhood. Thinking about another couple that came in from Utah recently, and they were thinking they were going to come in here. I've been obviously spotlighting this one a lot in the videos. They ended up at another Coulter Homes 55 plus, which is not a Crestwind, but it's at Lake Wiley. So the lake is the amenity with all kinds of boating stuff. So those are just some of the stories. Hey guys, we'd love to help you. You must get us involved at the beginning. I had a heartbreak story just a couple of days ago. A woman emailed me and said, hey, we're coming over to Crestwind, blah, blah, blah. Can you help us? Well, we've come to find out that no, we can't unless she's willing to pay us out of her own pocket, which is really almost criminal to me. It's sad, because the price of our fee is built into the price of the home. But if you go to the builder first, pause for dramatic. If you go to the builder first and then you call us, they'll say, no, we can't pay you because we got them. That's how we get them. And so I could go into some legal stuff about that and some ethical stuff about that. I think it's wrong. But the point is that if you call us first, we're not going to have a problem. So don't fill out a form. Don't go to the builder. Don't go to the model. Don't give them any information, and let us help you with that. 704-345-3400. So go ahead, King Stud. Let us help you. We'll see you in the next video. Holler at your boy.